Behind the camera's glare and the audience's applause, there is always an unexpected hidden story. But who would have thought a relationship that was initially considered ordinary between a BTS megastar idol, Jin, and his personal assistant actually became the center of attention of the world public. And even more surprising, Eun Woo idol, as well as a handsome actor who is known for always being calm and friendly, was reportedly speechless when he heard this shocking news. What exactly happened? The relationship between the genie and the assistant. Not just professional, the issue was first raised when an insider from the Korean entertainment industry anonymously revealed that the relationship between Jin and his assistant can no longer be called limited to work. So far, the public only sees the assistant as a support figure behind the scenes, preparing schedules, maintaining privacy, and making sure everything runs smoothly. But reality began to turn around when fan cameras began to record Jin's seemingly too warm, even intimate, interaction with the assistant. A few keen-eyed fans began to piece together the pieces of the interaction. Genuine laughter as the two of them spoke backstage, Jin's protective gesture of hugging the assistant in the rain, to the assistant's never-absent presence in Jin's various personal activities, including when Jin was serving his military service. In fact, one of the photos circulating shows the assistant visiting Jin in a military barracks, something that is very rare, even for families. Eun Woo's reaction. What's behind it? This is where the story gets surprising. In an open interview held by a major Korean TV station, Eun Woo was talking casually about his friendship with BTS members, especially Jin. But when the host suddenly slipped the question, "What do you think about the closeness of Jin and his assistant who is now widely discussed?" Eun Woo's face instantly changed. He paused for a moment, looked confused, then only briefly replied, "I just found out about it." It's not just the silence that makes the public excited, but Eun Woo's facial expression that changes drastically, from cheerful to stiff. Many fans suspect that Eun Woo knows something he doesn't reveal directly. Netizens began to speculate. Has Eun Woo ever seen anything suspicious? Or is he trying to protect a big secret that is not yet time to open to the public? Not the first time Jin is involved in hidden rumors for True Army. This is not the first time Jin has been linked to rumors involving those closest to him. But the difference is that the relationship between Jin and the assistant looks much deeper and more emotional than the previous issues. One reliable source claimed that the assistant had worked with Jin for more than 6 years, even longer than some of HYBE's own staff. The same source revealed that his assistant was often seen accompanying Jin when he was mentally down, starting from the difficult times leading up to the draft, to the long nights after concerts that drain energy. There is a connection between them that even Jin does not have with his group mates, he said meaningfully. The world of entertainment is split. Professional relationships or something more. Even the Korean media is silent. Several gossip outlets began investigating the assistant's origins. From the scattered data, it became known that he was not just anyone. He has a higher education background in communications and has worked at other major agencies before being personally recruited by Jin himself. Some even claim that Jin specifically chose her while forming a personal team for his solo projects. This certainly sparked more speculation. Is it true that the assistant is just a worker behind the scenes? Or actually they have established a very deep personal closeness, but neatly wrapped by contracts and restrictions of the entertainment world? Support and excitement from the ARMY armies around the world were split in response to these rumors. Most support Jin, whatever his personal decision. Many consider that Jin has the right to have a healthy personal relationship, regardless of his partner. But not a few also question the true motives of the assistant. Is he really sincere? Or is it just taking advantage of the position close to the genie for the sake of popularity or personal interests? Social media was filled with hashtags such as #ProtectJin, #JinAssistantGate, and hashtag Eun Woo knows. Some ARMY even create long threads on Twitter, complete with analysis of body style, facial expressions, to small interactions recorded from fan cam to support their theories. HYB finally spoke up. After this furor went global and went viral on various platforms, the HYB agency finally issued a short but firm statement. We value the privacy of our artists and the entire staff who work with them. Speculation is unfounded and can damage your personal or professional reputation. We ask the public to respect the limits of privacy and not to spread information without verification. But this statement was actually considered too flat by netizens. Rather than dampen the issue, HYB's comments opened up even greater room for speculation. Some media observers even said that HYB's reaction seemed defensive, as if she wanted to cover something up. What exactly happened? Still a mystery amid this uncertainty. One thing is certain: the public will not stop talking about Jin and the assistant anytime soon. With the spotlight constantly on them and rumors that never subside, one by one new facts begin to emerge from the shadows. Eun Woo, who has been known as Jin's close friend, has now become a key figure that makes the public even more curious. His silence seemed to speak louder than words. Does he know something the world isn't ready to hear? Does he keep secrets related to the relationship of Jin and his assistants? Conclusion: this relationship is more than conjecture. Are we witnessing the true story of loyalty and genuine personal ties behind the fake celebrity world? Or is this just a game of media narratives and netizens who overglorify every celebrity interaction? Whatever the answer, one thing is undeniable. The relationship between Jin and his assistant has changed the way the public views idol's private life. And maybe, in his silence, Eun Woo just gave a hint that behind all this, there is something much bigger than we think at ARMY. What do you think? Is this just a rumor or something? Is there a truth that is being hidden from all of us? Is it true that Jin and the assistant's relationship is that close? Fact or media hype? After the previous article shook the virtual world with a title that is no less kicked off. Yammer. Eun Woo is speechless. The crazy facts behind BTS's Jin and his assistant's relationship come to the surface. Now the big question begins to arise. To what extent can the truth of the issue be trusted? Is it true that BTS's Jin has a very personal relationship with his assistant? Or is all this just a narrative blown by the media to create a storm of popularity and excitement amid the sluggish schedule of the entertainment world? What exactly happened? If we look back at the narrative presented, from Eun Woo's stiff expression, Jin's personal interaction with the assistant, to HYB's defensive attitude, we can see that there are two sides of the coin facing each other directly in front of us. On the one hand, we are presented with a fairly dramatic picture: the genie, who patronizes his assistant, the assistant who accompanies during difficult moments, to a visit to an unusual military barracks. Isn't that a very deep form of attention? Maybe. But on the other hand, can it also be that all this is part of the professional loyalty between an artist and his trusted staff? And what about Eun Woo's suddenly changed expression in the interview? Is it a sign of pure surprise or a natural reaction to not wanting to be dragged into the hot gossip? ARMY reaction. Divided, yet full of emotion. Many soldiers openly expressed their support for Jin, whatever he was going through. They believe that the Jin has the full right to his personal life and social relations, as long as it does not harm anyone. But some of the ARMY also began to feel tired of the news that is too seasoned and tend to seek sensation. A fan wrote on social media, "If Jin is indeed close to his assistant, let him be. It's none of our business." But if the media deliberately picked up this story for the sake of clicks and virality, it is already outrageous. While others say, "I feel like there's something to hide. Too many weird coincidences." Why was HYB so quick to respond but didn't give a clear clarification? The question we must ask: fact or sensation? Starting from this phenomenon, it is important for us as consumers of information, especially K-pop fans, to start thinking critically. Not everything that is written, photographed, or verbalized reflects reality in its entirety. The entertainment world often shapes narratives for ratings, clicks, and public attention. So, is it possible that this issue was only raised to stir up conversation in the midst of BTS members' album promotions, comebacks, or solo projects?